Hello to all of my fellow teachers. I hope that you're all doing well. I know this is a scary time, a stressful time. I hope that this video explaining Canvas will help you to feel more comfortable using this tool as we navigate through distance learning over the next couple of days. So as I go through this video, please feel free to pause, rewind, fast forward, at any point necessary to allow you to set up your Canvas course as I explain these steps. The first thing that you want to do is go to tulsaschools.org/Canvas. That is how you will log into Canvas and also how students will log into Canvas. What I have done is I've added this as a favorite on my bookmarks bar so that it's here all the time. So that is something I suggest doing. Now what you will do is you'll click teacher/staff, and if you're not already logged in with your K-12 information on your Google Chrome browser, then it will prompt you to log in, and you will do that using your K-12 information. Once you're logged in, you will see these course tiles. This is displaying all of the different courses that I teach. I do teach multiple sections of the same course, and those will all be under the same tile. So we're going to start by clicking on the course tile that you would like to set up first. So I'm going to start with English 3. So you'll see that I already have some modules in here. If you have never used Canvas before, then it's going to take you to probably a blank screen, and it's going to tell you that you need to set up your home page first. So if you were to click this Choose Home Page button on the right-hand side, I suggest using the course modules as your home screen. That will allow students to see how you have organized your material for distance learning. And what I recommend doing is setting up your modules by week so that students can really clearly see everything that they have to do within a certain week. So in order to create a module, you click this Add Module button, and you will name the module. So for this, since I already have Distance Learning Week 1, I will add Distance Learning Week 2, and you can title this whatever you would like. You can use the lock until option. This means that students will not have access to this specific module until you allow them to have access. So since this would be Distance Learning Week 2, I'm going to set it as unlock on April 13th because that is the second week. I'm going to click Add Module. So I just added that module, but because I have some others in here, it probably populated at the bottom. So if you're adding multiple modules and somehow they get out of order, what you can do is use these little dots on the left-hand side of the box to drag it up to where you want it. Okay, so now this is in the correct order. And some important things you need to know, this little circle right here means that this module is not published. Now down here on the ones that my students have already done, you'll see these green check marks. That means that they are published and that my students can already view them. So what I like to do is keep them unpublished until I'm completely finished, they're polished, and I'm ready for students to see the content. So we'll go ahead and start adding things to our modules. So once you've got all your modules set up and you're ready for adding content and assignments and things like that, then you can click this button right here. So right here you have the option to add different types of content. You can add assignments, quizzes, files, pages, discussions, and some other external tools. The ones that I use the most are assignment, page, and discussion. So because this is something new for our students, I recommend starting with a page so that you can kind of give them some information on, you know, what your course is going to look like for them week to week, how the best ways to communicate with you, and any other necessary information that's going to be helpful for them. So once you select the page option, you're going to need to click on New Page, and then you would name the page here, Sample Page. So after you've added it, you'll have to click on it to edit. But I already have a page in here, so I'm going to show you what I have created and kind of explain the different tools that I included within that page. So I titled this Read Me First so that my students see it and they know this is where they will start. So if you're clicking on a blank page, you won't see anything right here, and you'll want to click on the Edit option. So you'll click Edit. Okay, so here we go. I have typed into this text box everything that I want my students to know about distance learning. And I've provided some information on my course, on what they can be expecting each week. And I will, all of this information I already am going to post on my classroom website to allow you all to kind of maybe copy it and tweak for you. I have some communication information. I have my class remind, I've got my email, when my office hours will be. So some important things that you will need to know for adding information in here. If you see this red text, that means that I have a link within these words. So that means if my students click on that, it will take them directly to my class website. In order to create a link, let's say you wanted a link to be on the words class remind. So you're going to highlight those words, and then you're going to go up here to this link URL. And then you're just going to copy and paste the link that you want to use. And you'll click Insert Link. So that will add the link that you want. Once you have edited this page with all the information, then you can go down here and click Save. As I mentioned earlier, I don't usually do the Save and Publish option because I want to publish the whole module at one time, just because usually students get notifications when things are published to their teachers' courses. So if I were you, I would just go ahead and use this Save option, and then you can publish the module as a whole. So that is how to create a page. So now we're going to go back to our module, and I will show you how to add assignments. So we're going to click this Add button again, and then you're going to want to choose the Assignment option. And you'll click New Assignments. The reason that I have things listed right here is because there's already assignments that I have created within Canvas, and that will pop up when you start creating assignments as well. But for now, we're going to start with New Assignment, and then you'll name the assignment. So for now, I'll just say Sample Assignment. Okay, to edit that assignment, you would just click on it. And see right now there's no content here. So we're going to click Edit. And it's going to give you this exact same text box that you can use similar to when we created the page. So this is where you would type your assignment instructions. If you are wanting to link to an online textbook, then you can do that here. Let's say you wanted to include the textbook title and you wanted to make this the link, then you could highlight it, choose Link to URL, and there is where you will paste that link to your online textbook or other resource. So then you could say, you know, read pages blank through blank, complete chapter, section, questions, blank through blank. Okay, there's a couple other tools that you can use whenever you're editing this text box that might be helpful. So you can insert a table. You can choose how many boxes, etc. So let's say you wanted to post your week schedule. You could create a table on here and say what days you're going to have them do what. You can also insert a YouTube video or any other, maybe a TED Talk video. And when you choose the embedded option, that is going to drop that video right here in the instruction box for the kids. They won't have to go to another window or anything like that. You can insert an embedded image, which means the image would be there for them. Again, instead of them having to go to a different tab. Here's some math equation options. You can insert stuff from your Google Drive. So I had some questions from some math teachers when we did our Zoom call the other day about what if I have, you know, digital, or I have PDFs that I want to add in. So I'm just going to find a PDF that already exists in my drive and see if we can add it. Oops, here we go. And I will add this. Okay, so then that is going to actually put that PDF right there in that instruction box for the kids, so they don't have to open another link. So there's that option. Once you have added all of your necessary instructions, then you will go down to all of the assignment options. At least I am still unsure on what the decision has been about grades. So I think for now our best option is to leave it as 0, or you could even change this display grade as not graded. And then, let's see. Oops. However, whenever you choose the option as not graded, that will take away their option to submit something. So if you're just putting out information and this is just, you know, an activity you want them to do and they don't need to turn anything in, then you can change that to not graded. However, if you do want them to submit something through Canvas, then you'll need to leave it as points and leave the points as 0. So submission type, there's lots of different options here. Obviously, we can't really submit on paper, so I'm going to explain online and external tools. So if you go and you choose the online option, you can select as many of these options as you want. So if you chose text entry, that is going to give students a text box similar to what we have up here that they can just type directly into. If you want them to turn something in that they've created maybe on some outside website, then they can turn in that URL to you with this option. They can turn in media recordings and also file uploads. So I know I talked with Ms. Howard yesterday about students having the ability to take pictures of their artwork and submit through file uploads. The second option is external tool. And the one that I am most familiar with is using Google Docs. So let's say I have already created an assignment in Google Docs, and then I want my students to be able to type directly onto that document that I have already created. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to click Find. I'm going to scroll down through these options, and I'm going to choose Google Docs Cloud Assignment. This is going to take me to my Google Drive. So what I would do is I would navigate through my Google Drive, or you can just search the title, navigate through your drive, to find the document that you want students to be able to edit. So this is the document that I want students to be able to write on. So now that I've linked that, I can click select. And what I do want is I do want this to load in a new tab for students so that whenever they click on that tool, then it won't take them away from their Canvas tab. It'll just open up a new tab for them. So now that that is linked, we're going to continue through the rest of our options and I'll show you what that tool would look like. So on this assign to option, because all of my sections of the same course are kind of wrapped in together, you have a couple options. You can assign to everyone across your sections, or you can do it section by section. Maybe not all of your sections are doing the same thing. That's fine. You have the option to just add one or multiple. So there's that. You can set a due date. So what I would recommend is, because we are doing this kind of in week chunks, that you would set the due date maybe either as the Friday or the Sunday of that week. So I'm going to set it as Sunday. Again, I will click save. And so now these are my instructions that I've typed in. This is the PDF that I have linked for students to see. And then this is the option that they can click on to access that Google Doc. Because some students are not familiar with Canvas, you might even want to add in your instructions, click on the box below to access and edit your Google Doc. So if they were to click on this, that is going to take them to the Google Doc, and it's going to create their own copy so that when they start typing on this, they are not editing your original document. This is their own copy of the document. And the student view will have a blue submit button up here in the upper right hand corner, so that when they're done, they can just go up here and click submit, and that will turn it in to you on Canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that. Okay, so there is assignments. The second tool that I'm going to explain that I use is the discussion option. So we want to have, let's say, a discussion in our first distance learning week. So I'm going to add something new to my module, but I want to change it to a discussion. You would click new topic and you would name it. Let's name it sample discussion. Okay. Now that you've added it, you will click on it in order to edit. So this is blank, right? I'm going to go ahead and click edit. Again, you have the same instruction box as on any other editing tool, whether it be creating a new assignment, creating a quiz, or creating a page. So you're going to type instructions here. And again, you can add any resources that you would like for them to use in order to have this discussion. So let's say you could link to a news article because you want the students to read this article and then respond to it with a discussion post. Or you could link to a video. Or if you are, an art teacher or a drama teacher, you could link to a piece of art that you want students to discuss, link to a play that you want them to discuss, anything. This discussion board option is really the best way that students will be able to interact with one another, because they can make a post and then respond to their classmates' posts. So other than Zoom calls, this really will be their only option to interact in an academic setting. So you've typed your instructions. So what I normally do is I say, okay, number one, let's say read the article linked above, write one discussion post of, let's say, 3 to 4 sentences with your thoughts on blank, whatever that article or video was about. And then after they do that, you can tell them respond to however many classmates you want it to be. You can say respond to 1 classmate, respond to 2 classmates, respond to at least 2 classmates' posts with, let's say, 1 to 2 sentences of thoughtful and meaningful content. I always like to tell my students, you can't just say, great job. You know, I usually give them some guidelines for their response. So now what you're going to select is who you want this to post to. So if you choose all sections, then that means all of your students are going to be seeing the posts from all of your sections. However, you can change it to displaying as different sections so that this section, my 3rd hour, will have one discussion board and my 4th hour will have a separate discussion board. Some options that are really important to add: allow threaded replies so that students can respond to one another, and users must post before seeing replies. So those options you want to select every time. This group discussion option, you have to manually set up the groups, but it would allow for students to have smaller group discussions. Let's say maybe each group has to select a video and then they can discuss that video among themselves. I don't know, that's just one idea. So available from or until, I normally just leave mine open, or you can say it's only available until the 12th. They need to respond by then. Then you can click save. And now students have instructions, and then they can click reply in order to create their response. I'm going to show you an existing discussion that my students have done in the past so that you can see what it would look like once students have started responding. So this is something that I did with my students whenever we were working on research papers. They were narrowing down their topic and then helping each other make sure that their topic was strong and specific. So I gave them instructions, and then down here we had to do a test because this was our first time to use it. This student posted his topic, and then some students started responding. So they made some suggestions, and then that's the end of that thread. See where the break is, and then the next student's post starts, and then the responses to this post are underneath it. So that's what that would look like. Okay, the next thing that is helpful to have is the gradebook. However, I think that my video might be getting a little bit long, so I'm going to go ahead and end it and start another video explaining the gradebook and how to view the people option.